My name is Joel Solomon. I'm with Renewal 2 Fund. We invest in growth stage companies in organic foods, green consumer products, and environmental innovations. I've got to tell you that having started during the recession to raise our first fund for outside investors, well, first of all, we brought in over 80 investors from probably 6 countries, majority Canadians. We're based in Vancouver, Canada. We raised $35 million. And in some ways it was a benefit to come into the space with that fund during the recession, because a lot of other financial products weren't having their ability to persuade investors and private individuals, foundations, and organizations that they were quite so risk-free and credible as may have once seemed. So in some ways it was an advantage to be offering something new that felt like real things to people. And we have placed 11 deals in our portfolio, and we expect to do a couple more. But all 11, well, one cashed out at a good return rate, and we distributed to our investors, and the other 10 are still standing, and the great majority of them are growing at a rate that we're quite pleased with. So we feel good about it. We are in pre-launch discussions now to raise the Renewal 3 Fund next year, aim for 30 to 50 million again. And alongside it, we want to do a smaller seed fund called Renewal Instinct Fund that might raise $3 to $5 million. And we think that's important because, first of all, there's a huge gap in the seed capital part of this sector. And a lot of my background and experience with Renewal Partners, the predecessor to Renewal 2. Renewal Partners was the capital of one woman named Carol Newell, who, as an inheritor of a substantial amount of money, made a commitment that the majority of her wealth needed to go towards good in the world. And I could tell more about her story, but that's where, in Renewal Partners, we did much more like professional angel money. So I've had a lot of experience at it, and we believe that there, of course, is a farm team aspect where you get into early stage companies and then they become growth stage, and ourselves and other impact investors may be able to get behind them. But the seed is needed. If you can come in early to an entrepreneur who has a great idea, a lot of energy, and they get the validation of a known funder to give them a $50,000, $100,000, maybe $200,000 check, it gives them a huge advantage. And you may come in and say yes, or you may come in and say, we'll be the last money of this round if you can raise the other money, but they still can go out and talk about your commitment. So that's what we're going to do next year, and therefore I'm feeling very good about moving into this space, particularly in Canada, where there are a very limited number of these kinds of funds, and be feeling cautiously that we've been successful at it. Well, my life story, which is probably not the time to tell my whole story, but I'll just say briefly that I was diagnosed with a genetic kidney disease in my early 20s. I was the son of a very major shopping mall developer and groomed to go into the business. And I also got lucky early and got involved in politics with a one-term former governor of Georgia named Jimmy Carter, who by the time I was 22 was elected to the White House. And that's when I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease and told that I might die very soon or I might live long, and there was not very much I could do about it. Well, it was also, I'd come up in the 60s, a time of questioning systems and things like that, and I came from a family that of deep social values. And I was really thinking a lot about capitalism and the state of the world, and how my sense was that human ingenuity is an amazing thing and has created extraordinary wonders in the world and created a great lifestyle for part of the planet. And I saw a lot of things about the way that human ingenuity and its tool, capitalism, were successfully exploiting and creating jobs and prosperity, leaving out a lot of people, and also leaving out externalities quite a bit. And I was touched by environmental issues through various things early in my life, and I grew up in a family that cared about social issues. And I was told I was going to die, and so everybody's going to die, by the way. you're going to die too, as you may need to be remembered from time to time. I need to be reminded from time to time, because it really helps me think from a perspective of what am I going to have done with my life. So all of that added up to, I spent some time out seeking and thinking about what was really my life purpose and what was it all about. And gradually I came around to understand that I had come from a very privileged place with a lot of access and tools. And I realized it felt like a bit of a responsibility to actually do something meaningful with that. So that led to an inquiry that suggested to me, I want to feel like I have taken whatever opportunities that I have and used them in a way that considers the long-term future. Because we need wisdom to catch up with ingenuity. And we need externalities to be owned by those who create them, regardless of what the laws are. So being able to create pollution and maybe cause lung cancer in people that you can't quite identify, to me doesn't make it okay to make money by putting toxic substances out into the landscape. So that kind of thinking led me to get very kind of basic, and I went and got, I had training as a French intensive biodynamic gardener, which was part of my spending some time wanting to be in my body, because I'd been diagnosed saying I'm going to die, all in my mind and conceptual things. And so through that experience, I began to understand more natural systems and feeding the soil. I was thinking about things like clean blood, because the kidneys deteriorate and lose the ability to clean your blood and you die. And the concept of clean money really began to drive my passion. And so I came to a conclusion that said, my father passed away from the disease in the mid-'80s, and I was faced with the opportunity and responsibility to deal with inheriting some capital. And that is a long story to say that it became my passionate commitment to invest in businesses that were about social change, social impact, had a mission as their DNA, and with entrepreneurs who actually got into business in order to be change agents. Long story also, but I will summarize it with my first $25,000 investment was in Stonyfield Farm Yogurt, right when I thought I was going into a nonprofit that was helping to prove that family farms should still survive. They had a few cows, they wanted to make some yogurt and bring some income into the farm. And they called me after the loan came into the nonprofit and said, we're going to start a business. Instead, would you invest that money? And so I ended up as one of the first investors in Stonyfield. And Gary Hirshberg was a great inspiration. Deep dedication, came out of New Alchemy Institute and thinking a lot about ecological systems and early stage renewable technologies, renewable energy technologies and things like that. And so that began a journey of looking for businesses that aligned entrepreneurs who really care about things and are going to break whatever rules about how business is supposed to be done in order to pursue mission while making money. So that was how I got started. Well, one thing that I like to say that impact investing is like organic food in the 50s. I like to say organic money, because impact investing is one side of it. It's an important aspect. Whether or not the language survives or not, we'll see. But aligning money with values and purpose. And so I think we're maybe in the 60s now of organic food with organic money. We're in early invention stages. So what that means for someone who decides to use their money that way is first standing up to being outside the norm, which means potentially ridicule, a little poo-pooing, a little discounting, and being a bit of a loner. We're past that stage. We're in the 60s. Flowering is happening. And so ridicule and outlierness, number one. Number two was, well, what does it mean? And trying to define what it is a very subjective process. Financial bottom lines are awesome because they're very clear-cut and they really do help you understand some things. However, they leave out humans, emotion, love, spirit, consciousness, impact on others, coming to grips with what do I mean and what is this thing? And then facing that, oh, well, you're doing charity, you're doing philanthropy, you're not doing real business. So I think pioneering and innovation has its inherent challenge of having to actually figure something out for yourself as opposed to go with the crowd. And then you move into things like people always want to know metrics and tell us, quantify the social and environmental goods and things like that. And I finally learned to answer that question as, I'm an entrepreneur. You're going to have to judge by the results. You can look for yourself. I'm not just claiming that I'm investing with the values and meaning and purpose that I care about, and I see that these companies are doing something that matters to me. And we're an open book. You can study it. You want to do studies on our metrics. But right now, I don't have time to do that. I'm out doing deals. I want to activate more capital towards alignment with values and purpose and social change. And I'm an entrepreneur who loves entrepreneurs, loves other entrepreneurs, and I just want to, and I was trained, I told you I was trained as a gardener, French intensive biodynamic gardener, which thinks about integrated strategies and interconnectedness. And therefore, in my mind, there is an ecosystem that is being built, and a lot of people are going to define all kinds of different elements of it. My job is to exuberantly push as much of it forward, whether it's with capital or moral support or introductions or creating events that bring together people to learn together. I guess what I've just said there is it's hard to invent a new field, and it's hard to be the guinea pigs inventing a new field, yet there's also some great pleasures in that. Well, the call to action is right now, which is every one of us, no matter how much money or how little we have, are making choices with our money. Where we shop, what we're buying, who made it, where it came from, what the impacts of that were. We're deciding our retirement funds often, where are we placing them, what kind of banking and financial institutions are we using, and what are they doing with our money, and what are they investing it in, and what kind of stocks we buy if you just want to go to that level, or don't buy. So everybody's got a role in this, and the need is gigantic that we align money with what matters, that will cause the future to be a place where consciousness, love, functionality, intelligence, and as good of a life for as many people on the planet while maintaining the biosphere can occur. So there's that kind of call to action. Every moment that we're willing to think about our financial transactions, our money, where we get it, how we use it, is important. The call to action, now, there's also more than enough money on the planet to solve most global challenges. Poverty, climate change, there's plenty of money. It's about where that money is right now and what it's doing. So I think of impact investing, this movement is about bringing consciousness to money and thinking through where did it come from, what are our relationships around it, where is it going, and how is it affecting things. So, will there be big booms? We're on the map now. Some foundations spent a lot of money to bring together some smart people and come up with the term impact investing. It's best we've got. I'm working with it. You might say generative investing, or there's a lot of different things you could say about it. But I appreciate that there are people trying to quantify. So the demand among those of us who want to sleep at night knowing where our money is and that we feel good about that, we want to be able to tell our children what we're doing with our money and why. Who have legacy issues we're facing, boomers. All of us have legacy issues. and we all have a health crisis eventually. So there's a lot of demand from consumers to have places to put their money. They all can't be direct investors, they all can't do due diligence and figure these things out. And most of us, even most of the smartest people and the highest net worth people, end up handing their money over to those who effectively persuade them that they will invest in a system and earn them a return rate. So every financial institution is facing having their shirt sleeve tugged on by some family member of the people that they're working with saying, I don't want my money in this. I want my money in solutions that I believe in. I want my money in things that generate a better world. So we're in the phase where the financial systems don't quite know what to do with it. So we will go through a lot of bumps and grinds, and there'll be finger pointing and critique and glass houses that'll have stones thrown at them, because it's an imperfect and messy world to go subjective around money. But we've had the first big boom, which is the demand is now clear, and you see most of the major money managers in the world coming up with something that offers a values screen to money. I like to be out in the more creative and innovative edge of that, maybe the more change-oriented side of it, and that's going to take longer. We don't have the products yet. We don't have the intermediaries. We don't have, we're very, very early stage. There are not many options, even for the high net worth individuals or organizations, and for smaller investors there's very little, but there's a lot of invention going on, and we will see a more accelerated than organic food. Organic food has grown at double-digit rates for 50 years. Conventional food has grown at very small rates. We are under 5% of the food dollar in North America in organics still. There are big industries here. So that's beginning to pick up steam, and you're seeing some of the biggest venture capital firms in the world going into organic foods, and you're starting to see publicly traded New York Stock Exchange billion-dollar companies in organics, and we're going to see that happen with Impact. So I think it will be more accelerated. I think this one's going to be easier than it took to move through food, because we're in a more transparent era. We're in a better informed era in certain ways. Might be a bit scattered and random, but we are in a bit more informed era. And the demand and the necessity of big companies to turn around quicker will happen. It's crucial to get these stories out. And the media, filmmakers, journalists, digital expressors, we need a wave of information. We need a huge amount of education, and I don't remember the facts of this, but it takes people a number of impressions before they really get something, and then it's going to take a longer time, as I've said earlier, for the products to be invented and the financial systems to shift enough to really happen. But we dearly need the storytellers of the world to go deep into this field and ask questions and tell the stories. Well, all of us have a chance to be billionaires of karma and good deeds. And we all deal with money, no matter how much or how little we have. Those of us who are in position to actually do some risk investing and get to direct where money goes, time to get up off your assets, as my partner Carol Newell likes to say, and really look at our relationships with money, whatever power we do have to influence our money, and demand that our money go to things that matter and that we want to tell our children about, and that will enable 7 generations and 500 years more of this beautiful thing we have, being alive on the planet. My name is Joel Solomon. I'm a partner in Renewal II Fund. We are investors in organic foods, green consumer products, and environmental innovations based in Vancouver, Canada.